Hello and welcome to Wake and Jake, presented to you by Cushy Dreams. Jake Storielli, Big Baby David. We are talking ball. We're going to make the all-struggle bus team. That's right. Every team has a couple guys you're looking at that it's like, is it the year? It's almost coming up on a month now since baseball started, at least the games overseas. And it actually might end up being a good thing because there's a couple guys on your team you're looking at like, dang, they're really struggling. Well, misery loves company. We're going to show you guys that are struggling the most. Also, a couple of the baseball topics that are out there. Ronald Acuna Jr. calling out Snit, hot in the streets. I'm half interested in that. The Yankees, Aaron Judge getting a home run taken away and Max Fried's no-hitter getting taken away. Both I kind of have the same reaction you just saw on the YouTube. What do you really do? If that homer cost the Yankees, I'd be freaking out. If Judge lands at 61 homers, I'll be happy. I would be happy. But yeah, we would definitely have to revisit that one because I think Jom's working on the breakdown right now, and he's got some UFO footage tracking the ball that tough to say it wasn't a homer. And that's what the ump said.
The Apple Maps shot of it from above. Those trees look like they're firmly fair.
So I don't think we need to do a ton of that. We'll see what other baseball is there. NBA playoffs did start. It's a big week. NFL draft week is here. NFL playoffs, NFL draft, which I'm very excited for, per usual. NBA playoffs, I watched the one game that mattered to me this weekend. Oh, that's not true. I caught the Knicks. I was going to do my normal Steph Curry speech. Worth the watch. It's a Sunday night. Do I want to stay up till midnight? How much is this going to ruin my Monday? How much is this going to ruin my week? Old. A, very little as of now. B, Curry is worth. I was going to say the price of he makes paying for cable worth it. Flex. Also just watch sports for my job, so cable makes sense, but almost every time, there's not a ton of players across sports that you can say almost every time you're going to get what you're looking to see. And I'm looking to see him make plays other people can't make. I'm looking for him to make shots other people can't make. And he seemingly does it every time. They get a nice 1-0 lead on the Rockets. Oh, my guys Simmons and Russillo, they're not bought in. Don't like the Warriors' depth. I get it. Don't care. Let's talk baseball, and let's talk the all-struggle bus team because, like I mentioned, a month in, kind of, at least for the Cubs and Dodgers, sneaking up on a month, and it's April 21st, which means a couple things. BBD mentioned this beforehand as I suggested the struggle bus team, and he was like, remember when Devers was struggling? Devers? Not struggling too much anymore. His OPS plus is 106. Another good week. He probably ends up more in Rafael Devers territory, and his slow start, his shoulders are banged up. Are his shoulders okay? Well, maybe he's DHing for the first time. I don't know if he's going to be able to do it. It looks like he's returning to Rafael Devers. So the best way to do this, I think, is go around the horn. We'll build a team, not a lineup. Kind of like that phrase, and I'm going to start using it, even though I don't think it matters at all. I think it just matters for what we're doing here. But we start behind the dish. And if you're a Kansas City Royals fan, you could have a lot of people on this team. I don't know. Did any Royals make the final cut? No, and that might be a shot at them. I will tell the people listening to Wake and Jake, thank you. Again, things have been going pretty well here. If you're on the YouTube, subscribe. We appreciate it. Leave a comment. Whoever I leave off is probably a player on your team you're mad at. Tell me why I should have picked them. Salvador Perez is a runner-up. And by the way, he could be a runner-up at first base and catcher. Big Salvi has been really struggling as we get this season underway. The other guy whose stats jumped off the page to me, but not winning the final vote, Travis d'Arnaud. I mean, that was a transaction that, well, it did feel a little Angelsy, which I can't believe I have to tell BBD this right now. I'm going to stop hating the Angels for a little bit.
Really?
Yeah, their walk-off yesterday won me over.
Okay.
I said for a month.
It's been overall a solid start for them.
I'm not going to like them. I'm not going to let them in. But I'm not going to hate them. I'm not going to go out of my way to dig the Angels or anything like that. Their game-winning Joe Adell double the other day, Ron Washington freaking out, Mike Trout freaking out. I want stuff like that to matter. I'm going to ignore the uniform and everything for like a month. And I could take that back in about 2 days. But let's call it a month. Travis d'Arnaud is like, oh, best backup catcher in the game, Angels. They've got Ohapi. Okay, that's a little weird. Ohapi got hurt, so it instantly looked like things were going well. Transactionally, having d'Arnaud on the team. d'Arnaud, 115 batting average, a negative weighted runs created plus. That's tough, Trav. But the winner was Yainer Diaz. I did not realize, and this is part of the reason we're doing this exercise. Yainer Diaz, 143 batting average, a 182 on base percentage. The weighted runs created plus is 15. And this is a guy that I've found myself back on the Astros hype train, who the Astros did have a very nice series win this weekend over the San Diego Padres, which not a lot of people are doing that to the San Diego Padres. Cam Smith 2-homer game. Got to watch that because I was betting at DraftKings. Might have been on the wrong side of the bet, but I got to see Cam Smith have a 2-homer day. Yainer, coming off last year, expected batting average, 97th percentile. A hard hit rate guy, a good K percentage guy, not the biggest walks, but everything else landed in a good place. Right now, he's barreling the ball, but the expected batting average is 17th percentile. He's a guy that can be a difference maker. You've heard me talk about catching position a lot. I had this weird theory about elite catchers were the only teams in the postseason. There's some chicken in the egg there a little bit. Last year, he crushed sinkers, sweepers, and cutters. Hello. That feels like a lot of guys' arsenals, huh? This year, not a lot of. How about 0 for on the slider? That's no good. And obviously the other numbers aren't great too. Especially, I guess, slider sweeper is actually the most significantly down for him. Although he crushed sinkers last year and he's not doing it this year. So, Yainer Diaz, hello and welcome, the starting backstop of the All Struggle Bus team. Over at first base, like I said, Salvi was a runner-up here too. Sorry, Royals fans. That whole lineup is the struggle bus. Tough to watch for Kansas City right now. There's a couple fun names here. St. Louis Cardinals fans are probably yelling about Wilson Contreras trying to make the switch. We talked about Devers a second ago. Wilson Contreras, down bad. I think there's an argument Lamont Wade Jr., late night Lamont, is in his feels pretty bad. It's getting late early for him. But they both give precedence. Is that the right phrasing? Probably not.
Precedence?
Precedence? I don't even know if it makes sense.
Finish the sentence and I'll have a better idea.
Tristan Casas is your all struggle bus. First team, first baseman. Had a game-winning sac fly this weekend, so that's good. And I hope it turns around for the big man whose stats jumped off the page. We've talked about trade. We thought he was going to be a trade guy this offseason with the Red Sox lefty depth and need for pitching. They brought in pitching, and they got to keep Casas. So far this year, not going well. When he came up, the Baseball Savant had everything on it. Great bat speed, expected WOBA. You know, that's what I'm always diving into. The bat speed is down a tick. It's still elite, but nothing else is going right for the big man. So interested to see how that develops for him this season. We didn't see a ton of him last year. He did crush the four-seamer and the sinker. Again, for a lot of these guys, I hope it doesn't come too repetitive. He's hitting sinkers. He's not hitting four-seamers. All of these guys who are about to be mentioned aren't hitting a lot of anything because it's about a 20-plus game sample size. So maybe I won't harp on that as much. Congrats to Tristan Casas. And I think I was going to say this caveat at the start, and then I distracted myself. For the all-struggle bus team, I will say name value matters. I think there's one or two positions where if it was gun to my head who is doing the worst, it would be a slightly different name. But we like names here. Expectations.
Exactly the word I was going to say. Like the concept of struggling in this sense, what I expected of you is what is a big part of that.
Like, I don't want to tease those corner outfields too much, but Tommy Pham and Hunter Renfroe sure could have battled for both spots. But that's not sexy. And I don't know what I expect from those guys anymore, except I expect Tommy Pham to be traded to a contender and him batting in the middle of the lineup. Remember what he's doing for the Diamondbacks?
He'll find his way to important at-bats.
Excited for that.
And he'll perform.
Maybe back in Kansas City. I don't know. Let's not get too far ahead of ourselves because we have to go to second base. Go to second base. Unhook the bra. Michael Massey. Which is tough, man. I really like Michael Massey. Michael Massey has a pretty lefty swing for a second baseman, and I've seen him make a couple sparklers at second base. I suppose the problem is, when I haven't been watching him, he hasn't been doing much. 0 home runs in his 21 games this season. 197, 225, a 237 slug, and there's nothing going right there. He grades out as a negative defensively on Fangraphs. Kansas City Royals. Again, I can't even congratulate you, unfortunately, because the man that I offensively is doing a tick worse, but he always brings his glove with him, is Marcus Semien. Marcus Semien for your Texas Rangers. 21 games, 141, 209, and 18 weighted runs created plus. The Texas Rangers, my Texas Rangers, who in a panic move before the start of the season and trying to stay away from Yankees bias, I went with the Texas Rangers, and I also noted I thought they might have the best lineup in baseball this year. A little bit of a hot take. I wouldn't say it's a cold take. I wouldn't say it's a hot take. Their offense has been struggle bus as well. Semien has been a big part of it. They do have another member on this team coming up. And yeah, I'm hoping they head to Sacramento after facing the Dodgers, where they got shut out in 2 of those games. Yikes. It is the Dodgers. Semien's kind of the head of the snake. And when he's right, he feels like a 2 for 4, which is weird because when he's wrong, it's probably like a 1 for 4. But I guess day in, day out, that matters a lot. And going back to our starting first baseman, Tristan Casas, I haven't been watching the Red Sox stock. I think you have been.
I watched it.
And? It's
a fun watch. Like it is genuinely entertaining. I have to get over some fandom stuff,
right.
But
the clip I saw was Casas talking about the difference between a 260 hitter and a 300 hitter, and he's like, "You guys realize the difference between those two players is like 1 hit a week?" And I was like, "That's a pretty interesting scope." And mathematically, it kind of makes sense.
Yeah,
which is
insane. One more hot streak,
But then the insane, if you want to start doing baseball thought processes, like how different in your head a 260 hitter looks than a 300 hitter.
Mm-hmm.
So in a way, I get what Casas is saying, but in a way it also doesn't make sense. Because everyone has their hot and cold streaks, and I'm hoping for a lot of these guys that we're talking about on the list, a lot of these guys are going to get off the struggle bus, and we're going to talk about how they had a slow April, and then they had a crazy May, or they had a massive second half. That happens every year in baseball. Do you see what I was saying there at all?
Yeah.
Like, that hitter feels different. I know what Casas is saying is true, but that hitter does feel different at bat to at bat, and the payoff of that over the course of a season is those a hit a week, which is insane. Weird little sport.
A lot of ways you can skin this cat.
Start with the tail. Take off the ears.
The other thing that stuck out to me about Simeon,
Sure.
the defensive side of the ball, and obviously small sample defensive metrics are kind of nothing.
Right.
But usually he's the best second baseman. He's grading out fine.
Yeah.
But that's part of the Marcus Simeon equation is you get great defense at second. So far the metrics haven't liked it.
He's been getting dubbed by Tommy Edman, Jazz Chisholm, who, again, this might be a fun part of the exercise. Jazz Chisholm, torpedo bat be damned, has been struggling pretty good. When he does hit it, it goes for a home run, so he has 6 home runs this year. But Jazz Chisholm's hitting 157. But with a few walks and with some power, amongst second basemen and the defense I mentioned, he's grading out pretty well all around. So I know it's not the numbers Yankee fans expected, but we all expected Kyron Paris to be leading our second baseman in F4 this year. So let's see. I did want to do another disclaimer for the Talking Yanks folks. We'll call this Wake and Jake instead. For the Wake and Jake folks is that I guess I was debating, is it time to do the breakout team? I think it's easier to give the breakout team another week or two. I think the Struggle Bus team is here. The Struggle Bus has arrived.
Like the guys we have here right now. It's not quite a full month of games, and there is some like a full week left of April, but like you kind of can't save it. You can help, and your season's obviously 10% in.
Yeah, they cannot.
It's like a good April's kind of over without like craziness.
Even like a league average April.
Yeah, you kind of can't save it.
It's a long season though.
For this month.
Heads up. So sorry, Michael Massey, you do not get the podium. Marcus Simeon does, and that's tough. Sorry to Luis Garcia Jr. Adam Frazier in the running. Feels like he always is. Let's go over to third base, because that's something that always confuses me, why we skip shortstop sometimes numerically, but that's how it works for this. Third base had some juicy candidates. How about out of the park Mark Vientos? Everyone, when I say that, they jump to Canna, and I didn't realize how much of a lockdown he had on that nickname.
Yeah.
I'm happy for him. I mean, he was a big kind of baseball figurehead for a little bit. I get it.
I think it either was or maybe still is his username on one of them.
It's just, if Mark Vientos turns into the power hitter he's supposed to be, that feels like a good usage of that nickname. Anyways, Vientos has really been struggling. I'm eating a little bit of crow today. I mentioned the Texas Rangers offensively. I just thought they'd have the goods, and maybe they still will. Again, hopefully these couple days in Sacramento get them going, can spark the spark. They've been pitching out of their dome. They're starting pitching in the, I think, 6-game homestand they just had. The ERA started with a 1. DeGrom, the really nice start. Watch out for that guy. I've been wrong about the Texas Rangers hitting. A free agent signing I really liked. I wanted my Yankees to be on the mix-in. I even convinced myself maybe he's a trade candidate dump this offseason. Jeimer Candelario. Yikes. Despite how delightful he was on Rose's new show, Dugout Discussions, he's been bad at playing baseball. And I can't imagine Cincinnati Reds fans have a really good relationship with Jeimer right now, because his numbers are big bad. Vientos is big bad. But a name that I feel like the baseball people probably could have guessed coming into this, Alec Boehm, has won the gig for us as the all-starting Struggle Bus third baseman. Very interesting to see the next steps for the Phillies in Bohm. Brandon Marsh, who's another guy that you may have guessed would be on this team. He's not. He just went on the IL. That's not a full cover-up. I'm not above that. There were other options that landed with Marsh as well. And I guess the injured thing, I don't know, it didn't feel great. Alec Bohm, 90 plate appearances, 0 home runs. I think we have 1 walk on the year, 193. The defense has never been his thing. We've seen the growth in that area of making the play when the play's got to be made. This guy offensively for the first half last season was the most consistent Philly. And then another year of trade rumors and Alex Bregman, Phillies were one of the teams he was linked towards. It's gotten off to an atrocious start. Hey, of some of the guys we've named, Alec Bohm has one of the better hitting profiles when he's right. Maybe that's about to click, and maybe he's going to one-dot it for May. If he doesn't, this third base has been the Phillies' area of focus, unfortunately for Alec Bohm, because there's so very few others to look at. There's been a corner outfield spot that's been in flux for a couple years there, between how they want to do center and how they want to do the other outfield position besides Castellanos, Schwarber DHing. That there's been Luis Robert rumors over the years. The Phillies feel like they need a little spice. And I don't know if that's third base. I don't know if it's Luis Robert. I don't know if it's something else. The Phillies are really good, and they're off to a solid start, which a couple of these good Philly teams didn't have solid starts. They were fighting for 500 for a while. Trey Turner had a big weekend. Harper's Harper. In a new National League, like, remember when the Phillies were just happening and it was like, wait, I know all of these dudes and they're sick and the stadium's rocking. This is awesome. The Phillies are they're built for the playoffs. The Phillies are going to go to the World Series every year. The whole conversation has turned to how good is the National League? That, I don't know. I think the Phillies are going to be a fun, are they? There's already been a little bit of it, of the will they, won't they, do they like Bohm? Is there something to add in the outfield? If the Alec Bohm thing doesn't turn around quick, Philly's going to have situations, I said, multiple on their hands. And yeah, sorry, Twins fans, Jose Miranda, also bad, less games played. Twins, yikes. Yikes, Twinkies.
I have a couple candidates for this position. Castro.
Man, things went south there quick. Shortstop. You guys know I love Zeke Tovar, and you guys also know he's probably not sexy enough for the list. Sorry to all my Rockies fans. I love them. They played a crazy game. Such a good 12-11 Coors Field game over the weekend. Nats almost blew a 10-run lead. Why do you know that, Jake? Is it because you cover baseball, kind of? No. It's because I also bet on that. Nationals minus 1.5. Crazy loss. Crazy loss. They were up 11. Anyways, let's not dwell on that. Zeke Tovar, our guy, off to a slow start to the season. Negative WAR, and most of that's all offense because he's still grading out okay defensively. The number one name on the list of negative WAR, both sides of the baseball, Willy Adames. Big Willie style, who, when Yankee fans lost Soto, this was a guy they were mad that they didn't go more in on. The Giants signed him, and we gave them all the credit in the world. Like, wow, the Giants got another big fish between him, Chapman, Jung-Hoo Lee. I guess this is the one that I can spin in the most positive way. The Giants have been playing good, winning baseball, and Willy Adames hasn't been Willy Adames. So there's obviously more of a fear factor having just given a guy a big contract. That, okay, let's right the ship here, pal, especially because third base is taken. But this is probably the one I'm spinning in the most optimistic light. Because things have been going well for the Giants. And maybe that's a winning cures all thing. But Willie just brought in the bag. And closing note on Will. The numbers that we keep saying this final week, these final 8 days of the month, 202, 273 on base. You know, a couple solid games. You leave April in San Francisco with a 220 batting average, maybe the on base is in the threes, and you say, okay, I had a bad month. Got me. But now I'm going to have a good month. That Willie Adames will proudly be my starting shortstop, and I think he's proudly going to play himself off the struggle bus team. So that was a happy, kind of optimistic one.
Yeah.
Which I didn't think there was going to be a ton of that. That rounds out the infield. So around the horn, Yainer Diaz, Tristan Casas, Marcus Semien, Alec Boehm, Willie Adames, which leads us to our outfield. If you know how we treat the outfield and DH here at John Boy Media, center field gets treated differently. Center field is a different position. It's in the middle of the outfield, aptly named. The demand on the body is different. It's part of the reason Yankee fans freak out even more about Judge when one of those combos come up, because Judge had been playing center field while breaking these home run records, which just doesn't make sense and was probably a mistake by the Yankees having him out there. And I have good news and bad news. There was a lot of center fielders that were in play. Luis Robert, who I mentioned, potential Philly or any team trade candidate, hasn't gotten it going this year. Michael Harris, too, which if you remember doing our center field tier list with Jolly, it was kind of like, okay, one of those guys is definitely going to have a big year and be big back and be arguably a top 2 center fielder in the game. Instead, they've both been going the wrong direction. I mentioned Brandon Marsh before. Jose Siri, not on the interstate, hitting in the zeros. And Leody Taveras, who was always just a funky part of that Texas organization where you're like, wait, is he good? Feels like he's always hit 8th or 9th for the Texas Rangers, except sometimes he hits 280 and gets on base at a good clip, and other times he doesn't. Unfortunately, I have to hit up a friend on this one. I'm going with Jake McCarthy from my Snakes. Jake McCarthy had a sneaky breakout last year in the Diamondbacks lineup where did he finish the season? He finished the season 285, 349 on base. I emphasize that because he had 25 stolen bases. He's one of the fastest guys in the league. If you can have a center fielder who can get on base at a 350 clip with his speed, that is a fantastic player to have on your team. It looked like the breakout happened his age 26 season, and the numbers are so ugly in a D-backs lineup that has been hitting again that I fortunately, over the names, my guy Jake gets the nod. 073 batting average, 170 on base, 098 slug. So there's just been none of it. Just none of it. So unfortunately, that's going to earn him the center field nod. I'm sorry, Jake McCarthy. Nice guy. Met him for a second. Which leaves our corners open. And I need some names here. No offense, Jake the Rake. I'm rooting for you to get out of there. The corners were thin. Snaps for the corners. I know all of you are, again, let me know on your team who's struggling. And there's guys that are, but this is also the point where we're playing 20 or so games that you need to be out there a lot. And you need to be struggling, and this is a position where you kind of got to hit, otherwise you're not allowed to struggle, which means if you've been having a really tough time out there, you're either a big-time prospect or a big-time free agent signing. Well, I got you both. Anthony Santander, who's gotten thrown into action for these Blue Jays in the outfield, maybe more than they would have liked. But my guy Santander, which I know you people know, and this probably just comes off bad and braggadocious. Great word. Someone DM me and they were like, dude, I was watching a JM baseball video from 6 months ago, and you said that Santander is going to get such a bag from the Blue Jays. And I was like, yeah, I tried to hit that on every platform, to be honest, because sometimes things make sense. But I was still in on Santander because I was like, he knows all the pitchers in the division. Toronto's a fantastic place to hit. It's going to happen. I'm not selling any Santander stock, but negative WAR, not liking playing actual defense. But again, you can put him in near the Willie Adames, and this is a guy that can have a 4 home run series on you, 205, 276. So again, give me a week, Tony Taters, and we're good.
He has 1 3-homer week, and he's kind of back where you would have guessed, maybe average a little lower still.
Have a 5-homer month with 1 good week. The other guy, I mentioned he had to be a big free agent or top prospect, Dylan Cruz. Nationals, that young outfield. Okay, Jacob Young's going to rack up defensive WAR, sure. James Wood and Dylan Cruz, kind of if you know baseball, one of them was going to go and one of them might not. It's rare that it just all comes together at once. Dylan Cruz has been on the struggle bus. 186, 219, a 42 weighted runs created plus. Defensively not grading out fantastic, which that's supposed to be a big part of his skill set. Nationals fans, I would have to know more from you how you feel about that. He's stolen 6 bases, some say. He has 2 home runs on the year. Dylan Cruz, and those numbers have trended up recently, that he was having a very bad time. So all of this is to tee up our designated hitter, and it's brought to you by MLB 9 Innings. Today's episode is sponsored by MLB 9 Innings, a Major League Baseball game you can play in the palm of your hands. MLB 9 Innings has a wide variety of game modes, from League Mode, where users can play through a season, to live player versus player. 9 Innings has over 2,000 player cards to collect and use in your dream roster. They got everything: logos, ballparks, uniforms, historic players, Adrian Beltre, Jeter, DiMaggio, Kirby Puckett, and Satchel Paige, and more. You might have seen it. If you haven't, the MLB 9 Innings trailer is out. Go check that out on the MLB 9 Innings official YouTube channel. Griffey, Trout, Maddox. Nice. Download and play MLB 9 Innings 25 today with the link in the description. Your DH. I could have just pushed Santander over there if I really wanted to. Some other guys off to slow starts: Brandon Nimmo, Jonathan India, Lourdes Gurriel. The DH, unfortunately, one of the easiest picks of this, and I think the first pick, and another free agent. Anyone that would listen to me, I was trying to tell them about. It's Jock Peterson. My guy Jock is down real bad. He's not hitting the fastball. A negative 1.1 B WAR from the DH position is tough. 0.55. 0.55 batting average from Jock and 0.73 slugging. It just goes to show you that this beautiful sport sometimes, where a guy hit 275, a 393 on base last year, a 515 slugging, 908 OPS, currently is down 700 OPS points. Feels significant. Down close to 500 slugging points. Those two numbers come together to make one number. Jock ain't hitting a thing right now. And he seemed like one of the safest free agents to me. I would go on my speech about how not everybody knows how to DH. Not everyone's comfortable DHing. Jock is supposed to be one of those guys. One of the best four-seam fastball hitters and cutter hitters in the league last year. Slugged 964 off cutters. Don't throw Jock that last year. 602 on four-seam fastballs. This year, he's just been getting chewed up by the four-seamer. He's probably not on time. That's what Trevor Plouffe tells me about major league hitters. If you're not hitting the fastball, every major leaguer can hit a fastball. It just means your timing is off. I don't know if Jock's timing has ever been more off. So a tough way to start out in his new place. The Rangers are going to Sacramento. Hopefully that helps them out as a team. And hopefully my Rangers find it offensively because the pitching, Tyler Mahle has been incredible for them. We've seen young guys give them contributions, but right now the lineup is empty. So you're all struggle bus team. Maybe we mark down a note to check in like June 1st. Is that too far? Labor Day? Memorial Day. Excuse me. Around the horn, it's Yainer Diaz, Tristan Casas, Marcus Semien, Alec Boehm, Willie Adames, Anthony Santander, two big free agents there. Jake McCarthy in center. Sorry, Jake. Dylan Cruz in right, and Jock Peterson at DH. Let me know of your who on your team that maybe I should have been tougher on. Or maybe give me a guy on your team that's been struggling that maybe you feel a little better about right now. That would be the positive way to go. Not how internet comments normally work out. But ain't that it? That's the all struggle bus team. Let me see if I have anything else to add. The Red Sox just won today, Marathon Day. 3 out of 4 from the White Sox. Good for them. Walker Buehler on Marathon Day, obviously.
Yep.
What are we doing? I'd say the other things from around the league are pretty, I don't want to say standard. The Baltimore Orioles pitching is historically bad and worrisome. I think the only thing that's changed is historically in the past couple days after the Reds embarrassed them at the party yesterday. Let's see. I mentioned I'm treating the Angels as neutral, that I already regret. Milwaukee's really good again. Take out that opening series from the Yankees, and they've been 12-7. I think they're pitching to the tune of with an ERA with a 2 in it. That's important. And I guess it's a team I just need to start treating a little differently. The New York Mets. The New York Mets can pitch the hell out of the ball. The offense hasn't fully clicked yet, although there were signs from Lindor this weekend. Pete was doing a lot of the heavy lifting. Soto got in the mix. He's going to get more in the mix. I think he traditionally is a slow starter, if I remember looking at his numbers. And he's been noticeably cold. The hoodies he's been wearing have been way too big. That'll go away soon. The Mets are getting pitching performances out of Griffin Canning, who was the worst pitcher in the league.
He was on Eno's who'll be the next Luke Weaver list, right?
Yes.
I think I learned that from you.
Yeah, well, I didn't realize he'd be starting pitching and still pitching this well. But the Mets are the Brewers. They brought Stearns over. They revamped their pitching. They have the best ERA in baseball. Pitching was supposed to be the question with this team. And it's been nothing short of dominance with former Yankees closer Clay Holmes, off the scrap heap from the Angels, Griffin Canning. Kodai Senga, good. No notes. Tyler McGill, David Peterson's given a couple good outings. And I've gone through their bullpen before. After Diaz, it's not a lot of names that pop off the page, but they've been performing. As a complete unit, they have the third reliever ERA, second in WHIP, the number one starting pitching ERA from your New York Mets. So, let's see. They've got the Phillies coming up. Let's see how that goes this week. And yeah, like I mentioned, like Vientos could have easily been the all-struggle bus third baseman. He hasn't been doing much of anything. The second half of their lineup has been pretty thin. Lindor, until recently, it's a lot of Pete. It's a lot of Pete. And the other guys are going. I mentioned Nimmo briefly. Nimmo
Could have made the list.
would have made the list fairly easily. And the Mets are still 15-7 in the crowded NL. Kind of circles back to that. Will the Phillies need a little spice? Everything nice. DraftKings, they say baseball is a marathon, not a sprint. But the great news for you is there's so many games to get in on the action with our partners at the DraftKings Sportsbook. And right now, hello, $200 in bonus bets instantly after betting just $5 when you use code JMSports. If you love the thrill of live betting, DraftKings has got you covered. They got everything, man. Pitches, at-bats, whatever you're looking for on in-progress games, they have it, and it can make the game a little more exciting for you. If sports betting is not yet available in your state, don't worry. You can still join in on all the fun with DraftKings Daily Fantasy and have the shot to win cash prizes. So, download DraftKings Sportsbook app now. Use code JMSports. Bet just $5 on any wager and get $200 in bonus bets instantly. That's code JMSports only at DraftKings Sportsbook. The crown is yours. I mentioned the Ronald Acuna thing. If you don't know, Jared Kelenic, former top prospect, he had the, I don't want to say signature, but we know it around baseball, and it happens probably once a week. Jared Kelenic turns on a ball, thinks he hits a homer, doesn't get out of the box quick. It is not a homer. Fielded quickly, bare hand by the outfielder, throw to second base. Jared Kelenic is out. Okay. Depending your team and your manager and your player, this situation plays out very differently. This early in the season, I think a lot of people would tend to lean towards stern talking to, finger waggle, don't do that again. And that's kind of what happened, except without the finger waggle. Because Brian Snitker was asked about it after the game. He said, I didn't fully notice in live time. Was what it was, blah, blah, blah. We got the swing on, we got the swing in the video up on the screen here. Home to first, 7.49 seconds. First to second, 3.3 seconds. Out after the replay challenge. That's tough. Okay, if you want it is what it is, or however you feel, if you're older school, like put him on the bench now. You don't really see a lot of that. Except one of the few young stars to have this happen, and then he was benched, was Ronald Acuna Jr., who's also a member of the Braves organization, who tweeted and reacted online saying, if I did this, I would be benched. Good note, Ronald. And true. Because that is what happened. So, in the story of Snitker and Acuna, and we start going, okay, so do you hold the better player to the better standard, or isn't the whole point of doing it to someone like Ronald Acuna the fact that you should be able to do it to anyone? There's a little bit what happened in live time and how, if you're Snitker and again, if you're not watching Kelenic run, if you're watching the ball, is it the bench coach's job to tell the manager he wasn't booking it? You'd like to think from the result of the play, they would put that together. Wait, why were you out at second on a ball you crushed? I'm tending to lead Ronald here. The only thing Ronald did bad was he tweeted this, which then it makes it public, and now Kelenic's involved, and the media is fully involved. That the argument would be, when you hear players say, it's kind of a lame thing, but they say, we handled this behind closed doors. It's interesting because Ronald Acuna's benching was not handled behind closed doors. So, I tend to lean Ronald here. If we're going to be the Braves and you're going to hold me to that standard, why aren't you holding Jared Kelenic to that standard? And if you really want to let your brain wander to different conclusions, you can start wondering different conclusions. And that's the problem with not keeping the standard. So, interested to see what develops there. I I think some people had qualms with Ronald taking it to the internet. I don't really. He got benched for the same thing. The teammate didn't. I know it's not the best finger point, but also, let's point the finger. And maybe let's get the Braves out of the cellar in the NL East. 8-13 right now. All right, let's wind it down just with a little bit of NBA. If you didn't watch this weekend, I think I told you just watch Curry and the Warriors. I realize if you watch Draymond take jump shots, that might frustrate you, but watch everything else he does. He had a backdoor. It actually wasn't really backdoor. He was on the sideline, and Curry cut through the middle. And the pass that he made, I literally said out loud, no, you don't make that pass. Dylan Brooks defending Curry didn't matter. It was Draymond and Curry, and it's just unstoppable. Some of the shots Curry made is just artistry. The famous call from this game is defying geometry, which was a really good one. I don't know. I know they have depth. We talked about the NBA playoff preview a little bit. Golden State, they're not that Golden State. Although, if you look at some of the buckets Jimmy Butler got down the stretch to close this game, playoff Jimmy kind of a thing. Playoff Jimmy is kind of a thing. Brought some bad Heat teams. Shouldn't say bad. Brought some Heat teams deeper than anyone expected them to go because of his playoff performances.
8 seed got to the finals.
The Warriors are so thin. I mean, some of the bodies that they are rotating in are tough. The Rockets, who were the 2 seed, they get punched in the mouth. This was a rock fight. 13 points by the Rockets in the second quarter. Anytime the Warriors need to get out of jail free, A, it's Curry, B, it's Butler, or 3, and Draymond deserves more love for this. Some of the things he can create is just different. It's curious. It's curious basketball, and it's unique to them. And when they smell that blood in the water, there was a couple of their final possessions that you're just like, damn, that is still feels close to peak basketball while not having a couple other bodies to complete that lineup. Warriors are kind of must watch for me going against this young Rockets team. Cavs roll on the Heat, not really interested. Celtics roll on the Magic, not really interested. Thunder eviscerate the Grizzlies. Interested only from the fact that you don't see a lot of professional shellackings like that. And that's what the Thunder do, especially at home. That is a rabid fan base. Real Wake and Jake listeners know I have my group of Oklahoma friends. A lot of Thunder people in there. They are rabid for that team. I'll compare it to UConn basketball. UConn is what Connecticut has. The Thunder is what Oklahoma has. And their college teams have some nice years. But professionally, this is what Oklahoma has. This Thunder team is really good. And I think this Thunder team also heard, last playoffs, they get their lumps. Like, I was trying to think, what if I was the Thunder's head coach, what would I say going into this matchup that they're probably going to sweep? And I would say, hey, if this is going to be our run in our year, let's start off with a bang. And they destroyed the Memphis Grizzlies. Fun to watch from an oh my God perspective. Speaking of Knicks, BBD's Knicks, they get the win. A little scary heading into the fourth, down 10 or so. This is a Pistons team that there's some numbers the past couple months that they've been a really good team. They are young and punchy, which can be very scary sometimes. It's kind of like a baby snake with their venom. They don't know how to control it. Sometimes that makes them worse. Brunson kicks into gear. Was it an 11-0 run that kind of flipped the game? Was it more than
21?
That? 21. That's what I switched an integer there. That's impactful in a fourth quarter. How you feeling about the Knicks, Beebs?
I was feeling bad, and then I felt really good.
Yeah.
which I think matches every Knicks fan watching that game. Look, came out, they did their whole thing. Knicks were hitting crazy emotes.
emotes.
I've never seen him really hit emotes. Period. Outside of McCall has his thing, and like Brunson does some stuff, and it kind of wasn't those two doing it, and it freaked me out.
Yeah. Cat.
Cat just doing everything. His passes were all like really cool.
Yeah.
So I felt good about the Knicks after game one, getting out of that with a 10-point win, 10+ point win.
Right.
They're like, oh, it is the Pistons. This Pistons team's first time in the playoffs.
How quickly that exhale happened is pretty cool. We'll see if it carries over into tonight. Tonight, fun slate. Knicks, Pistons, and then Clippers, Nuggets. That was probably the best game over the weekend. Clippers, Nuggets goes to overtime. Russell Westbrook. People were curious if he was going to be highlighted in a positive way or a negative way coming out of this series. After game one, positive. A bunch of clutch shots and plays by Russ. They're going to leave him open, and the jumper can be ugly. Sometimes it drops. Also some aggressive plays around the basket. The Nuggets get game one. Both of those teams, that part of the bracket in the West is really gnarly because the Clippers, the way Kawhi has been playing along with Harden and Big Zubac, that I'm excited for NBA tonight. I didn't fully realize that both those series were going on. And then I don't want to say the surprise, but Timberwolves Lakers, another one of the great Western Conference series that we talked about. Luka and LeBron, it's going to be tough to bet against that, and they've been playing so cohesive. Yeah, they don't have the big man, but we'll see. Whoa. Minnesota took it to them. Anthony Edwards, as fun and doggish of an athlete as you'll find. Timberwolves also got 23 from Naz Reid and 25 from Jaden McDaniels, which if they get that, that's going to make them really hard to beat. Julius Randle with a nice, solid playoff game. One of the T-Wolves questions, always a question. And then funny, the old men, Conley and Gobert, did their part.
Enough.
No stats that jump off the page, but it is funny come NBA playoff time when you see there's guys that can hang on an NBA court for 20-plus minutes, and there's guys that cannot. Some of the guys the Warriors are subbing in, they're hoping for 2. This was that Timberwolves team that tormented in last year's postseason, and everyone started buying stock before Dallas got to them. When they play like this, they can be scary. Ants out here shooting spider webs at people. It's unbelievable, some of the stuff that happens on an NBA court. And if you're the Lakers, I don't know, like Luka had a Luka game. LeBron missed a couple threes. You wash it and you say it's one NBA game and you flip the script. But if the T-Wolves play like that, what I heard Simmons say briefly was the Lakers don't have like another counter move. Like, hey, the Timberwolves shot 50% from 3. 42 threes, 50%. You're not going to win a lot of those games. But if they make their shots, they will win games, which that's a nice place to be. Nice place to be. All right, guys. Hey, guys. Let's watch a little NBA tonight. Pistons, Knicks, and the Clippers, Nuggets. Absolutely. I'm jazzed up for that. Might ruin the sleep schedule a little bit, but sleep when we're dead. Whew. Thank you, guys. We'll be back Wednesday. Maybe foolish. I got to send him a text. And we'll see you soon. Love.